Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about Ripple and XRPs was the vast majority of crypto and finance. And with that being said, I hope that you are all having a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are out there in the world. As we really look into the big banks in the US, we turn to a select few, and JP Morgan is definitely one of them. JP Morgan did recently hold 10% of all US deposits, which is actually looked down on as a bad thing. But again, it's JP Morgan, so nothing will really happen with that. And as we do know, they have been one of the largest market manipulators in history. Look at this post from August of this year. Greg Smith, who is a former gold trader at JP Morgan, was sentenced to 2 years for fraud and market manipulation. He didn't get 2 years though. It was only like a few months, I think, after it was all said and done. But basically, he got charged for 11 charges for manipulating gold and silver prices from 2008 to 2016. And apparently, he also caused a ton of major losses for the retail sector. But this is supposed to be, of course, this is a blind eye, basically, right? Oh, this is nothing. It's JP Morgan, right? You could still trust JP Morgan. JP Morgan's not going to, hurt you or anything like that. Even though, again, Jamie Dimon, who's the CEO, goes out and ridicules the entire crypto market, says that it should all be shut down. Crypto's a scam, crypto's this. But he's running private Ethereum blockchain-based technology. Did everyone just forget about this? Like, what is actually going on here with JP Morgan? I think that we can come to the conclusion that they're just manipulating the market, just like they have manipulated markets for years and years and years. Also, what happened with this, right? JP Morgan definitely had to, pay a substantial fine, right? Yeah, $920 million for manipulating precious metals. That's it. And it was also for manipulating treasury markets. September 29th, 2020. I mean, how insane is this? I mean, at the end of the day, when we look at what's actually going on here, like, what is going on? This should be a substantial fine. And we even see here the full-on breakdown of it. This is the biggest ever settlement imposed by a derivatives regulator. But again, this is JP Morgan. This is one of the largest banks out there. And again, what is actually going on here? And this should also prove to you that the biggest banks out there are betting against you. They are manipulating you through markets, through the actual banking sector. I mean, it's ridiculous. And they're not the only one. Major banks were also rigging the Forex market. Barclays, JP Morgan, Citi. There were so many big banks tied to this. Why am I bringing all of this up? Well, you guys probably know this video from the beginning of the month. JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon, the only true use case for it, talking about crypto, is criminals, drug traffickers, money laundering, tax avoidance. The data since 2000, regulators fined banks 7,400 plus times. 7,400 plus times. Guys, these are the big banks, totaling to fines of $380 plus billion. Banks should stay silent. And the thing about this is, it's not just about fines. Like, these banks should not be fined. They should be shut down. But again, these are the big banks. They keep the entire American monopoly system running. Listen closely to this clip. You guys probably already know about it, but I'm playing it again because I want to go over something that just surfaced.
I've always been deeply opposed to crypto, Bitcoin, etc. You pointed out the only true use case for it is criminals, drug traffickers, anti-money laundering, tax avoidance, and that is a use case. because it is somewhat anonymous, not fully, and because you can move money instantaneously, and because it doesn't go through, as you mentioned, all these systems have built up over many years, know your customer, sanctions, OFAC, they can get bypass all of that. If I was the government, I'd close it down.
Okay.
I've always been.
Now, who is he sitting next to? We have the Bank of America CEO to his left, and we have the Citi CEO to his right. These are the big banks. They're going to talk their nonsense because we know that they are manipulating the markets. Check this out. 3 weeks after JP Morgan CEO says Bitcoin is for criminals, drug traffickers, and money launderers in front of Congress, his firm is named authorized participant for the BlackRock Bitcoin ETF. Perhaps it's time to retract that statement. Like, how insane is this? You may not always like what I say, but you'll always know where I stand. In a world of flexible morals and questionable ethics, knowing where you stand makes all the difference. And it's insane. Like, at this current moment in time, when we look at JP Morgan, right? When we talk about criminals, drug traffickers, money laundering, tax avoidance, JP Morgan is one of the largest criminals out there. They're a criminal in a suit. That's all it is. A bank? That's just their title. We know that they are the largest criminals out there. All of these big banks are. But we know this. We have the proof of this. And this clip comes to mind. Big shout to RizXRP for reposting this. This is an old clip. It's old but gold because it proves to you what they are doing in the world of crypto. Listen, if they are manipulating gold and silver markets and Forex markets and even the US Treasury market, guess what they're manipulating? The crypto markets. Look.
On tech, this is how the rich get richer.
Yes.
They know, they're connected. A lot of times they're coordinating.
Yes.
Without the insider trading. This is not illegal to do.
No, manipulating the news cycle, if you're smart about it, is they can get away with it. Nobody's ever been arrested for anything like this.
So now, with crypto,
yes,
I know personally, I know people that would have gotten in or stayed in if these people weren't saying what they're saying.
Right, and so this has really been extremely egregious. So on September 12th, Jamie Dimon says Bitcoin is a fraud. He says he'll fire any one of his traders buying Bitcoin. Bitcoin drops 24%. When Jamie Dimon speaks,
people listen.
People listen. So that weekend, we found out that the largest buyer of a Bitcoin fund that's in Europe that buys physical Bitcoin, right? The largest buyer was Morgan Stanley and JP Morgan. And that's not illegal.
He says it's a fraud.
It says he'd fire anyone that buys it. Yes.
And at the same time, his company is buying it.
His company is buying it.
So it's just, I mean, so unethical.
Right.
Okay.
Now, again, this goes on and on. You could even look at Goldman Sachs. You could even see what Soros says. I mean, they have a full timeline in this video. And this is old, right? Like, this goes back to, I want to say, like 2017, 2018, you could see the full timeline in this video. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, when we look at what's been happening around JP Morgan, Gary Gensler, all of these big moves being made, the regulators are in the pockets, right? The big banks have been paying them for a very long time. A very long time. And you know what's funny about this? I've always talked about these big fines that are getting paid out. I think that these fines that are being paid out are just payments in disguise, essentially. Oh, JP Morgan had to pay $920 million for manipulating precious metals in Treasury market. Where did this $920 million actually go? Give us a breakdown on these payments. This is why I say, as we look at BlackRock, being JP Morgan being named here around BlackRock is insane to me. He just called Bitcoin a hyped up fraud, worse than tulips, is going to be an authorized participant for the biggest Bitcoin ETF soon to be approved by Gary Gensler and run by the Fed's shadow money manager. You can't make any of this up. You seriously can't. This is why I say stop getting manipulated by these big names. I just recently made a video talking about these Bitcoin ETFs. Do you honestly think that these Bitcoin ETFs are not going to be one of the largest manipulation events in the history of crypto? I mean, think about it. BlackRock is the name behind one of these Bitcoin ETFs. And this is where JP Morgan's tied to it. The SEC has to approve it with Gary Gensler, who, by the way, has been being paid, in my opinion, by the big banks to go after crypto, go after this project, go after that project. And I think that the SEC is also proof that an agency can be bought, because why didn't Ethereum get targeted? Why did Ripple and XRP get targeted? We've talked about the technology stack. We've talked about the overall goal of Ripple's. Yeah, if I was a big bank, I would be terrified of what Ripple was doing with XRP as well. But outside of all of this, right? We just seen a big update regarding SBF as well. Guess what? Here's proof that the politicians are also manipulating the justice system. Jeremy Hogan, quiz. All remaining charges against SBF will not be pursued to trial. These include charges related to one of the following below: SBF's abuse of love, FTX's high fees, his illicit payments to politicians. Guess which one? And here you guys have the announcement from Watcher Guru. Sam Bankman-Fried donated $100 million in stolen customer funds to U.S. politicians. Today, the U.S. government announced they're dropping 6 charges against SBF and will not prosecute him for a political campaign finance violation. Of course not. Of course not. They are not going to go after this. This is absolutely insane. This is what we have been talking about. When we really look at what's been going on, the entire system is corrupt from the top of the food chain to the bottom of the food chain. This is why the retail sector will constantly get screwed. This is why you cannot be following the herd. You cannot follow what you see on news. You cannot follow what the big banks are telling you. It's all manipulation. And their overall goal here is to screw you over while they get extremely wealthy. This is absolutely ridiculous. Again, I just want you all to understand what really is going on here. And I think that Johnny Deaton really did put it into perspective. We see here, so first off, this is the first post. What a surprise. On the Friday before New Year's, prosecutors dropped the case against SBF. That would have disclosed all who received his campaign contributions. Okay, maybe it's not so surprising, right? And we have here from Johnny Deaton, ask yourself, why is this case being dropped in an election year? During the fraud trial, Caroline Ellison testified that SBF gave the Biden administration $10 million, and the reason he told her was to buy access. He got 2 personal meetings with Gary Gensler and several others with SEC staff. He got to speak to CFTC Benham, which, by the way, this is the chair of the CFTC. Like, this is one of the big players around the regulatory stance within crypto and even many markets. Maxine Waters and others on the FSC. Who did he get to meet on the Senate Banking Committee? Did you also have meetings? And he's talking about Elizabeth Warren and even Sherrod Brown. What a joke the DOJ has become. Again, when we look at what's been going on here, we need to have some sort of transparency. But how the hell, right? Like, think about how crazy this is, right? Gary Gensler is going around saying, oh, the crypto market, they need to be transparent. We have transparent and clarity around crypto rules, right? That's what he says all the time, even though we know that this is false. And here we have something that is being hidden. They are hiding the true facts. They are hiding one of the largest fraud cases in crypto history, and also one of the largest fraud cases that is close to some of the largest fraud cases in history. We're talking about Madoff. But guess what? There's no transparency here. They're hiding the facts. They're hiding it from the retail sector. Why? Oh yeah, that's right. Because now it's election year. All of the politicians, they have to be saved. Hide all the information. Hide where all the money's going. This is absolutely ridiculous. The SEC cannot talk about transparency. They cannot talk about transparency at all because this is extremely damning. Now, this is why I say the SEC, nobody is taking the SEC and Gary Gensler seriously anymore because this is ridiculous. This is insane. But this just shows you how far money goes in the system. The entire system is corrupt. It is rigged against you, against me, and every other retail individual. This is why I say when the SEC is saying, hey, we're here to protect investors, yeah, they're only trying to protect the money that's flowing into their pockets and those individuals that are paying them, like JP Morgan, Barclays, Citigroup, the big bankers, and even fraudulent individuals like SBF. This is absolutely ridiculous. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe to notifications on if you guys want more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, this has been Nick. Peace out.